The LONGBOX CRUSADE presents Transformers Chronicles.
Hello and welcome back to Transformers Chronicles. I'm Delvin, aka the Dark Web. And in case you're new to the show, welcome. And let me tell you what this thing is all about. We're going for a wild, crazy ride, chronicling the awesome, wacky, and sometimes explosive world of Marvel Comics, the Transformers. But I'm never going at it alone. Let's meet my chronicling companions. First up, we have the founder of LONGBOX CRUSADE, I think we changed novice, but I forgot what it was. The higher than novice level to the Transformers world, the seeker of the matrix of knowledge. His name is Pat Sampson, aka DJ Cristados. How are you this evening, Pat?
I am doing good, Delvin. Thank you for asking. I am so excited for this one. One of my good friends is back. He's gotten redone, and he's cray. Mm-hmm. He's double cray now because there's two of them.
It's two of them. Even though, it's Grimlock loves that dino mode, man. You saw him in that regular robot mode for about 2 seconds, and then he was like dinosaur the whole time after that. So, I'm glad that Grimlock is back. I'm glad that you felt that he was sufficiently cray.
Yes.
Yes. Are there any other good tidings that you'd like to give to me before I move on?
No, that's it. I'm just really excited for this one. I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're about to have. So.
Me too, but we got to introduce one other person. Wish there were two, but Maggie is not able to join us tonight. But we do have the lesser half of Married with Content, our Transformers librarian himself. His name, Jonathan Schaefer-Hames. Welcome back to the show, John.
It's good to be back, Delvin. Thank you for inviting me back. I was worried for a little bit there, but then finally at the last minute I got the call. So thanks for that. No, good to be here. Yeah, Maggie's not feeling so well, but yeah, this one's going to be great. I remember this one as a kid. This one, I think I bought this for my brother because as I remember, I think they were coming out twice. Yeah, these were coming out twice a month for a little bit during this period. So it was a really fun time for Transformers.
Yeah. It's I'm looking forward to talking about this book too, and I had memories of it too. And as I'm pretty sure at some point I was going to show, as you guys can see, it made me smile. Like you can see you see the dog ear spine and everything. I think this is my original copy from like 35 years ago.
Yeah, I'm kind of crabby. I missed last month because I didn't realize until afterwards that I have a dog-eared copy of 58.
Nice.
Somewhere.
Well, Optimus Prime looking like
that was a great cover.
Yeah,
it was an interesting cover.
It was. We like both Pat and I liked the cover. We talked about it and we liked the book too. But you know what? It seems like it was. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was going to say, Delvin, but we've talked enough. Why don't you tell us what's going on in your life? How did your Auburn Tigers do?
Oh yeah, that's a part of this. I forgot. I introduced. I forget to get. Sometimes I don't get introed in, and I never have minded actually. But Auburn Tigers just exited from the NCAA tournament. We are recording this during the championship final of the men's basketball tournament, where Houston is playing the Florida Poop Heads. I'm pretty sure that's their mascot, the Florida Poop Heads. I don't think we need to go Google that or anything. I am proud of my Auburn Tigers, though. Very happy for them. I tell you, I was sitting upstairs watching the game, and my heart rate is my heart is just thumping out of my chest. My hands are sweaty, and yet I'm shivering at the same time. It was like I had the day.
What did you have to eat before that?
I didn't because
no mom's spaghetti.
No mom's spaghetti. Like there was no I was as nervous as I was. I didn't throw up or anything, but I didn't have any food in my stomach because I ate food that morning. I worked out, and then that took a little bit. And by the time I got home and showered, it was about time for the game. So. I can't eat during the games. I just can't. I'm just too nervous. And so I'm sitting there like my hands are clammy, sweaty. and like yet I'm cold at the same time. Like just I was a glass case of emotion, but very proud of my Auburn Tigers.
They
really
did a heck of a lot better than the Badgers did. What with their winning at least one game and all.
Wisconsin has had some good years too, though.
They have. They also have they have some amazing years. They've won the championship a couple of times, but it's really funny the years that they don't, because they generally get knocked out in the first round in a hilariously inept way.
Man, I'm telling you, like Auburn had a ignominious first round exit last year against Yale. We lost to a bunch of gosh darn nerds. And then, but this year, much, much better. But as a program, Auburn has not been great. So for these past 10 years, it's been amazing. But this is not Auburn basketball cast. This is Transformers Chronicles. And the purpose of this podcast will be tackling all of Marvel's Transformers comics in order, starting with issue 1 and working our way to the series end at issue 80. We're getting there, man. We are getting there. We will answer any questions that are brought up to the best of our ability and see how these books we loved then as a kid hold up to our eyes as an adult now. This podcast is guaranteed to be, you guessed it, more than meets the eye. So Pat, John, let's see what happens when Megatron's scheme falls apart right after the promo break.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Hello, soldiers. I'm Jared Albrecht, the yard sale artist, codenamed Death Probe, and I'm here to give you your orders to join me and my elite podcasting squad for G.I. Joe Chronicles. Who makes up this elite squad, you may ask? It starts with my right-hand man, Pat Sampson. Tell me your codename and specialty, Pat.
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. My codename is DJ Christados, and on G.I. Joe Chronicles, I specialize in G.I. Joe comic books, Marvel, Devil's Due, IDW. We cover them all. But there's so much more in the G.I. Joe Chronicles universe, and that's where our first sergeant comes in. He's Jim Mill. Sound off with your codename and specialty, Jim.
My specialty is everything else G.I. Joe. I'm going to talk about some comics too, but I'm also going to look at the G.I. Joe property from lots of different angles, including, but not limited to, the toys, cartoon, puzzles, train sets, bed sheets, Halloween costumes, you name it, and there's probably a Joe version of it, and I'm going to let you know it exists.
You forgot to tell the troops your codename.
Oh yeah, codename Weasel Skull.
I don't think you can have that one. I think it's taken.
Dang. How about codename Weasel Skull?
Strangely enough, that's also taken.
Orsted.
Oh, that's like a beautiful name, man. We could be cosmically...
Okay, never mind. I got it. Codename Dark Web.
No.
Pop Pop Hiss?
No.
Pimp Destro.
No.
Hot Thing?
No.
While my battle buddies get that ironed out, I invite you to join us for G.I. Joe Chronicles. You can listen to it on its own solo feed wherever podcasts are found, or catch it under the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network umbrella. We look forward to seeing you at Fort Longbox.
Yo, Joe! Okay, how about Jim the Joe Junkie?
Maybe.
We now return to the Transformers.
Welcome back. The issue we will be covering today is Transformers issue 59, and here's John with the cover description.
All right, thanks, Delvin. Up in the corner box, we've got our good friend Optimus Prime with his hard-to-see head still featuring it here, but I think we got all of the headless Optimus jokes out of the way last time, so we'll move on from that. We do have the styling new Transformers logo in a nice metallic silver and white, and it is shining over one heck of an action-packed scene. The first thing you see, because he's amazing, is Grimlock in his dino form with the most articulate little T-Rex arms I think I have ever seen him have. His left one is like above his head, like opened up, ready to grab. The right one seems to be either catching a laser blast or in the process of moving near it. We've got two of those little, what are they called?
Micromasters.
The Micromasters, the purple one and the yellow one.
Robots.
Sports Car Patrol.
Sports Car
Patrol. Whatever. the purple guy's got his head together and is taking a nice square shot on Grimlock, which Grimlock is not in the process of noticing as much as he is about to take revenge on it as the blue and yellow guy looks on. But approaching from the from in the background, stomping forward with purposeful look on his eyes is Megatron. The background it's got some explosions. There's a bunch of torn metal. This has got every single thing you'd want to see on it. I like this cover. I'd like to hear what you guys think, and then I'll tell more specifics maybe. What do you think, Pat?
Real quick, the only thing I wanted to mention is that the back is Megatron's tower. And you know what? I'll say it for you, John.
Yes.
There was a cover blurb that's right around Grimlock's belly, and it says, "Not a hoax, not a dream. This issue, an Autobot dies."
Yeah. And in the immortal words of my brother Jason, when he saw this cover, he said, "Oh, there's an effing surprise." But
and now with that,
our X-Men 2.
Pat, what do you think about the cover?
This one is a very likable cover. I like the action that's happening, and you got my guy Grimlock in full dinosaur mode here, just going and stomping, and you know he's going to stomp on those little microbot things. He's just going to stomp all over those guys. But he's got that formidable foe coming right after him, as John mentioned. That you can just see that Megatron is coming in like, I'm stomping. He's all that, and he's going to stop this from going down. But I don't know. With Grimlock, he's going to go cray-cray. And you all know what happens when Grimlock goes cray-cray. Crazy stuff happens.
Not much against Megatron.
hey.
I'm just saying, like, bro is at least 0-2 against Megatron. Like, I mean, but we'll talk about that. John, what do you think about the cover?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I love Grimlock's eye that you see in it. Just he is got just murder in his eye. He is going to tear these little things apart, and he is going to enjoy doing it to the point he doesn't even realize Megatron is coming, which is okay. Even if he did, I don't know how well he'd do. But this is probably the best Grimlock does in the whole issue, so I got to give thumbs up to him on that. What do you think, Delvin?
It is great. It is a great cover. I think just the delight that I get, it's not like Jose Delbo has not had his turn in drawing quite a few Transformers, but the delight that I have in seeing him draw the Dinobot form, the Tyrannosaurus Rex form of Grimlock is awesome. And Megatron, like he draws like great Megatron.
Yeah, that's cool.
So both of those are on the cover. I mean, and like, I can't think of many Transformers fans who are like, God, I can't stand Grimlock. Everyone likes Grimlock because he's great. He's just such a distinctive character that it's easy to like him. It really is.
Giant metal T-Rex. I mean,
right.
What else you want?
Right. You don't need anything else. You got all you need. So it's a great cover. It's a ton of action. Like, I appreciate that the microbots were on the cover, like not only drawn according to scale, but like they were very well articulated. And once again, it's just Mr. Delbo not taking any shortcuts whatsoever. Like, there is some pride put into this cover, and it absolutely shows. And I do think it's a great cover. So
I didn't get to mention, but the coloring as well too, I think really plays well with this. It makes everything pop. And it's not like it's bad off coloring like sometimes we've seen in the past. There's detail to the coloring. Even Megatron's in the background. He's still got good coloring on him. I
like the red on this. But not only it just looks like smoke and carnage. And
around there, yeah.
The tower, Megatron's tower in the background as well. What are you going to say, John?
Because of color wheel niceness, the red does a great job in offsetting both Megatron's blue/purple and Grimlock and the yellow on Grimlock's collar there, man. I have to say, in all honesty, I've had nothing but good things to say about the coloring lately, and I mean that seriously. It just, for the covers especially, they've been really, really, really a good part of making them pop out. And for me to say that, all right. So You can let my cat go now, Nelson. I'm going to just say that from now on. All right.
And while John continues his Nelson Yumtov redemption tour, let's rate the book. On a scale of 1 to 10, just like the tech specs of old, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, what would you rate the book? I'll go first. When I looked at it, my thought was 9. And I think I'll stay with that. Like, I mean, it is fantastic. Like, do I think it's highest tier? Not quite, but it is damned good. Like, I mean, just an awesome effort. So, like, I enjoyed it. John, what would you rate the cover?
I thought 9 too when I first saw it. I think I'm going to give it a 10 though, just because I know this is one of the most. If you were going to just think of a 10 Transformers covers from Marvel Comics, this would definitely be in your top 5. It would come to it. It is one of the better covers on this, and it's like before. I really can't see anything wrong with it, and I just. Maybe it's the background colors and such that I really like it, but it's a 10 for me.
It is fantastic. I can't question that at all. Pat, I get the feeling what you're going to rate it, but we got to hear it.
Well, I'm going to be with you, Delvin, at a 9. Yeah. I think there is something that holds me back from it. Maybe it isn't, I don't know if you want to say, a 10's like those iconic ones that Sure. So, and I get what John's come from because he did have this issue, or he went through it before. This is my first time seeing it. So yeah, maybe ask me in a couple years as I reminisce and ask me maybe if someday somebody gets me that Kickstarter that's going to happen, that Transformer, that's a good Christmas present. Somebody out there listening.
Oh,
I could use that.
Saving up. Better start saving up now, considering where they got to be shipped.
Here's Pat on the Robo Fishing Expedition, and I hear you. But man, I'm torn. Like there's no Joe November here, like because
it's a high 9.
It is
strong 9.
Like,
strong 9.
If you love Grimlock, this is a 10. Like, I mean, like if he's your favorite dude and you saw a cover with Grimlock on it, you're like, I mean, you can't draw that any better. That's fantastic.
That's true.
Man, I don't know. Like I will easily talk myself into a 10 if I keep going. So let's continue, and Pat will read us the cover credits for this issue.
Well, thank you, Delvin, and I'm glad you asked. Here we go with some cover issue information. We are covering Transformers issue number 59. Its on sale date was August 22nd, 1989, which is the number. It was towards the end of the summer. So we're just going to get down with the cover date.
You're about to run out of dates for that.
Yeah. It's coming up. Cover date was November 1989. Cover price was $1. The story was by Simon Furman. Pencils go to Jose Delbo. Inks, Dave Hunt. Colors, Nelson Yamtov. Letterer is Jim Massara. Editor is Don Daly. And the cover credits go to Jose Delbo and Danny Bulinati. This is all thanks to Mike's Amazing World and tfwiki.net for that information. And we'll go back to Delvin to move us forward.
Thank you, Pat. Not yet.
I'm jumping the gun. Sorry.
Thanks, Pat. Let's get right to the synopsis. Now,
in a world
transformed where things are not what they seem.
It is a world
of the Transformers.
More than meets the eye. Woo. It'll never get old.
Never. It has not yet.
It is a world transformed, where things are not what they seem. It is the world of the Transformers.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. Transformers.
The Transformers from Marvel Comics.
The title of this issue was Skin Deep. Ratchet and Megatron, man. They just seem to be joined at the hips. Kind of like some robotic Siamese twins, right? Megatron had a big plan, but Ratchet threw some, ratchets into those plans in the form of using the Pretender shells to bring Jazz, Grimlock, and Bumblebee, no longer Goldbug, to fight Megatron. Megatron counters by beating the tar out of those three and tossing them out of his tower. Megatron's a savage, y'all. Let's go back to MacDill Air Force Base, where Pretender Starscream is attacking the mostly Decepticon contingent, and that has Scorponok shook, son, because he and Optimus literally saw Starscream explode in an earth-shattering kaboom. Remember? Optimus was piecing the whole thing together, but Starscream does blab that he's doing this for Megatron, so now Optimus Prime knows that Megatron is behind the whole thing, and Ratchet and the Ark are probably in big trouble. As a ruthless Starscream and his Pretender shell attack, we can check in on the Ark. Heavily fortified bombs are set to detonate the Ark, and there are a ton of deactivated Autobots there, so the newly returned contingent and skeleton crew of Autobots are kinda stuck, right? Back to Ratchet being a Ratchet, thankfully. Megatron is gonna kill Ratchet and tracks him down at the transdimensional portal, ostensibly trying to escape, and let's bring it home, Ratchet didn't completely mind-wipe Starscream. He kept his original Craven personality. So as soon as Starscream took a big hit, he immediately crumpled mentally and begged Scorponok to take him back. And the bombs on the Ark? Ratchet got comms working to the Ark and had him send those bombs to Megatron's base. Megatron tries to escape into the portal, but Ratchet pushes him onto the bombs and kaboom! What in the world is gonna happen next? So, let's talk about the book. On Transformers Chronicles, we take turn bringing up something from the book, starting with, but not limited to, Goods and Bads. Everyone talks. Pat, you're the one I want to talk to first. You were here last issue, and you said a few things about what you thought were going to happen. And I heard you say those things, and I kind of nodded along, and like, you know, the good host that I am, I didn't spoil anything. So what did you think about what happened in this issue?
As a good host, did you remember or write them down what I said?
Well, one of the things
I'm trying to remind.
One of the things that you said was
I said about the Pretenders being we already knew that.
Well, no, you thought that Starscream might show its true colors at some point.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That was one thing. Like, so, like, I
figured, yes, I did. I did say I figured that Ratchet did something to Starscream, at least to when he built him, to put some sort of a fail-safe or a way to get him back, right?
Yep.
And he did. I didn't quite understand what he did, but he did it.
So,
but in a cool
way. Here's what he did. Megatron, knowing exactly who Starscream was, wanted Ratchet to revive him, but he wanted him to completely wipe Starscream's memory of who and what he was, and only put in what Megatron wanted him to be, which was this mindless engine of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Ratchet did wipe his memory, but left his original personality still intact. So as soon as anything happened that was adverse, that original personality came flaring back to the surface.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's kind of similar to Sparkplug Wiki. You'd think Megatron would have learned, because what he had, you bring in a mechanic to have to do something because you don't know how to do it yourself. You have no idea if they go, here you go. That looks like fuel to me. Oh no, my insides, So
right. Yeah. Keep going, Pat.
Yeah, I do like what happened, how Starscream then becomes just a wimp again and starts bowing down to Scorponok. And it's like, come on, or to, what's his name?
Fine.
Yeah.
Lord Zarak. But
Lord Zarak, whatever.
Scorponok was just fine.
Yeah, I guess, I can see, I guess Lord Zarak somewhat is in control of Scorponok a little bit, or vice versa, but it's like, come on, Starscream, this guy's a little guy. You're a big robot. Why can't you just squish him, and beat Lord Zarak down and then take control?
Well, I mean, because he does have immediate control of Scorponok, so he would have to strike very quickly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he is kind of standing there on top of Scorponok, but like that could very easily change and quickly change by the time Starscream got to him.
That's true.
Like, and as long as Zarak is in control of Scorponok, then you may as well say he is Scorponok. So, not exactly the easiest win for Starscream.
True. And he does. I think he's more Starscream's characteristics are more of I'll do things behind and let others do them for me and then step in when the time is right.
Starscream be scheming. John, what do you have to add? You weren't here for 58, but I know you. Did you read it, by the way? 58?
Yeah, I read.
Oh, sweet. So you're at 58, you're at 59. What do you think?
Well, I think I really like this issue. I really like these whole last few ones since Furman started up. It's just been building up, like we said, just kind of the slow at first transition over from the Budiansky style, and then now it's just in full gear. God, there's so much going on here. I did like, whereas Grimlock gets tossed around like a ragdoll by Megatron, Bumblebee gets a few shots in.
Yeah, he does.
In the beginning, he takes his shot, and Megatron's in the background, and the next panel just smoking.
I remember that from 35 years ago. I remember the line that it's like, don't come close to my friend, or I'm gonna blow big holes in you. And Megatron's like, whatever. And he's like, he doesn't hear as well as he used to, does he?
So great.
Boy, I was surprised when I saw him. Like, I had to look back and go, and I thought, like, is he shooting Megatron? And
yes,
he is, because it's so colored. I thought maybe he was like shooting one of the other micro things or whatever.
Sure.
Because maybe they were kind of close. But then I'm looking at, oh my, he actually shot Megatron. Bumblebee actually shot Megatron.
Yeah, he sure did. I thought that was great.
And it is nice to see Bumblebee again. I did really enjoy Goldbug's design, at least in the comics, not so much the toy. But it's nice to see Bumblebee. Bumblebee's classic.
Could we say, is there a reason why they went back?
Well, the reason is that the toy did. But in this, it's Ratchet said he always preferred Bumblebee's.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure, like, when they changed his name. And then now they're bringing him back. Was it like a nod or a wink or some acknowledgement of people complaining that, hey, we like Bumblebee? We don't.
It's hard to say. There was no internet back then, so it was hard to speculate as to what we were all thinking. I know there was some sort of criticism. There was some minor criticism in the letters column, I remember. But I think it was just Bumblebee's kind of, and as we've seen, has kind of become the star of the franchise as it's gone forward. So Goldbug's nice, but he's just not as recognizable.
I agree with that. I couldn't tell you why they changed it. Like, my answer would have just been as simple as, like I mentioned to you before, it's like, remember, what's the purpose of of this comic book? It's to sell toys. And they had the Pretender version of, and for whatever reason, they did not stick with Goldbug. They're like, nope, it's Bumblebee. And so they're like, change it back. So who knows? I don't maybe someone smarter, might listen to the show and be able to provide a little bit more input. But I just think it's simple as a design, as they changed them back in the comic book because they changed them back with Hasbro
Yes. If somebody out there knows, let me know. I'd be, I always enjoy getting knowledge from our listeners as well.
Cool. What else do y'all want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about, when you talk about toys, and this is a good example on kind of how to play with your toys, right? If I was a kid reading this, I would be recreating this.
Exactly.
I'd be grabbing those toys and this is an action-packed, fun read. I mean, I thought it was going to be more of a denser read, but it read pretty quick.
It did, and Ratchet's even explaining to them how to use their Pretender shells, to further your point. Which is kind of exactly. That's like one of the most blatant toy commercials since the Omega Supreme debut, I think, on that. But what it really seriously is, I mean, I really like how as the series goes on, I think the next artist tends to make the Transformers a lot more sleek. They tend to look, just almost organic in the way that they move in things. But I do like the blockiness, especially in this one of these new guys. There's something about the way he's drawing them and the sound effects getting tossed around that they really just seem like big lumps of metal, like where Jazz is kicking the little sports car patrol around.
It really is interesting how I think that both Bob and Simon had their takes on what the Transformers were and are. Mm-hmm. And Simon humanized them even more, I think. To where they had there was even you had a point where Lord Zarak, by extension Scorponok, was literally petrified to even go near Starscream. He was like, yeah, attack him. I'll be back here monitoring.
Yeah.
He was, and that's not even, and what that even, it highlighted that, because Scorponok hasn't been a coward throughout this run of Transformers. Ever since he's hit the scene, he's been a pretty fierce warrior.
Yeah.
And he was shook. It's like, I saw this dude, this robot, get completely blown up in front of me. How in the hell is he alive? And then go ahead.
I was going to say, plus, you're probably going to say it. Plus, he's watching Prime get pummeled by him.
He's watching a powerful, this Pretender shell is coming in and just wrecking Optimus Prime, and so Scorponok is just shook. And it just speaks to how, and finally, once Hot Rod made an excellent save trying to protect Prime, he hit the Pretender shell, which caused Starscream to feel pain, and then finally Optimus Prime was like, Scorponok, Zarak, attack! This is a robot. He can feel it was the equivalent of I just finished watching the third season of Reacher, and Reacher had to fight this dude that was he's in real life 7'2" and just massive, just this
more jacked than him.
More jacked than him. It was crazy. But at the end of the day, it was he's just flesh and blood. What Prime told Zarak was the equivalent to that. It's this is not a ghost. This is circuitry and metal. Attack him. And as soon as he did, the fight was over because Ratchet's plan came into place. So I really liked that shift. That it is subtle, but it's just they're sentient beings. I guess is just the best way to put it. They're not human beings. They're sentient beings, but they feel pain and they have real emotions. And heck, this whole thing started where Ratchet was dreaming, essentially. So I like that the robots now have these more human elements. That's the only way I can describe it. But it makes me relate to them more.
And that's a good thing because there really isn't a human in this issue. And we really haven't seen much. Yeah, but Zarek's a robot.
You're right, Jonathan. I was just saying just him. He's not.
Yeah. He's a guy. Okay, he's a headmaster, but yet he's still combined with them. We don't have any normal human earthling, fleshling.
And that's on purpose.
We're so into these characters now that, they are like humans to us, right? They have that persona.
Yes.
Definitely.
I was looking through this fight again with Starscream, and it's kind of paced it's like a wrestling match in which the super heel comes down and he's just tearing everybody apart and everything's going wrong. But then Hot Rod comes running in and shoots him on that, and it's enough to turn the tide once they see that, because they thought he was a ghost, which is also funny because in the cartoon, Starscream was a ghost.
That's true.
So it was right around now, or it was before this. So that was a nice nod to that, too.
That's true. As a result of the movie, when Galvatron turned him into dust, but he came back. Man, the things you remember. Okay, that was one awesome thing. How about Ratchet? Ratchet was awesome. This whole he stood in the. I love it so much. Ratchet is a medic, but on top of him being a medic, he's smart. He is smart, and in the face of overwhelming peril and danger, he still found a way to fight through that. And I mean,
and not a simple plan either. He had to, while doing all the other stuff, somehow work all this other stuff in without, raising suspicion and all of this stuff. I love him.
But he's ready to, he's ready to die for it all too, just to make sure the plan comes to an end, or you know what I mean. His plan gets There
is no doubt that Megatron's plans were foiled. That is certain. But I mean, look at the cover, right? The cover said, "Not a hoax, not a dream." This issue when Autobot dies. So is Ratchet dead? Not talking to you, John.
You know what? No, because they give it away at the end of it. They give it away with the end of,
What did they give away, Pat?
Well, they just said, should be worried Optimus Prime, judging by the happening Decepticon base. Yesterday's heroes on sale, and he wants to check on his buddy Ratchet. So I'm assuming Ratchet and Megatron probably got zapped away to some place, like they're somewhere. So it's two guys that don't like each other, and now they're trapped in somewhere that they need to get back out from together.
I think I might need that to clip that as a previously on Transformers Chronicles.
What about the explosions, Pat? Like it looked like
Ratchet.
So
Ratchet and Megatron are
all the robots. All the robots on the Ark took all of the explosions, and Ratchet had them teleport them to Megatron's base. Megatron's like, "Screw this, I'm out," and was about to jump through the portal, but Ratchet looked like he diverted him to fall on top of the explosives, and he said, "This time you stay dead."
Yeah.
So,
so that means an Autobot and a Decepticon might be.
Well, we do know we've read enough comics between the three of us that we know that the two ways that you are guaranteed to not die is if you are caught in an explosion or if you fall into a bottomless pit that you can't see anything but mist. You're going to just be fine. Like much later on, usually. Like Bucky. Bucky and Captain America. Did you ever go watch that again and see what? Or my favorite recent one is in the Indiana Jones movie where that guy just gets clocked in the head at full speed and knocked off of a train, and later on he's alive, and we're all like, "No, you're not."
That was a ghost. Okay. Just an interesting note. I mean, like the cover did say an Autobot dies. It looks like the Autobot that is most likely to have been killed is Ratchet.
I believe Ratchet is the one in question.
It seems like, if you were to give like this as Transformers 59 as a book report to some kids, and then you saw the cover, and then they read the book, like the answer to the question of which Autobot died, the only answer that was available is Ratchet. It seems like Ratchet's dead. Let's just leave it at that. Like, maybe he's dead, maybe he's not, but he certainly appears to be dead for now, at least. Like, to answer your question, Optimus Prime, like, he doesn't know any of this happened. He doesn't know that Ratchet is on Cybertron. He's lost his comms, remember? He has no idea as of right now what happened to Ratchet. So interesting things afoot. I'll just say that. So we talked about the awesomeness of Ratchet. I also want to mention, because Grimlock has been portrayed as just the most powerful. One of the repeated things in the cartoon and in the comic books a little bit is that Grimlock is powerful enough, particularly when he's a dinosaur, that he might be stronger than Optimus Prime. That was literally in his original tech specs.
Right.
Good Lord. Megatron beats his butt. I mean, he got one hit on him the whole book. And the rest of the book, Megatron was just beating his butt. Like, oh, man.
That's because he got small arms. He's got small arms. He knows.
Every time. every time he fights Megatron, this is what happens. Like it happened in 7, in 8.
Yeah, he took out all the Dinobots even back then.
Yeah, true.
And the Dinobots are formidable warriors. And I guess Megatron is formidable.
That sounds like it's a Transformers combiner.
Formidable. So yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning. I also thought it was a funny moment in the book where Megatron told Jazz that 2 heads aren't necessarily better than one. Together, Jazz's head with his pretender shell. But if anything, I will make a bigger, maybe smarter sounding point in saying, man, oh man, did Simon Furman make Megatron an absolute menace. He was a menace. Like, God. Like, y'all can talk about that or something else. I'm rambling too much.
No, I agree. I think before we went recording on, and John and I were on, and I said, hey, I really like this. I've been liking this storyline that he's got going on here. It is so refreshing, and it is so intriguing that it makes me want to read and continue to read more and see where things are going to go with this one. It was a faster read, but it was a good read. He packed a lot into this one, going from what's happening at Cybertron, then to the Ark, and then to the base, the Air Force base, and then back again, and just kind of flowing all around. So he's got some, balls in the air that he's juggling with stories, and yet he's also still laying in some even deeper stories with the characters that are happening as well too.
And it is, I have been in a short time very impressed with what Simon has done, and we mentioned this before. He's very familiar with the Transformers storyline because he had to write stories in between Bob's original work. But just him coming on like he did and like writing the stories that he has, these first 4 have been phenomenal.
Yeah. And you still got you got Megatron. He's going to be back. He's going to be back and badder than ever. You got Starscream.
Funny that
even though he's a wuss right now, or what, back to the thing, he's got some power, right? Does he still keep his pretender shell and all that, or what goes on with that? I don't know. I'm assuming that he's going to be as power again.
Although they just kind of go the way of the the Target Masters little human guys and ish. And
only use them when they need to use them.
Hot Rod and Cup, they're supposedly Target Masters, but maybe they left their guns at home.
Yeah,
you never really.
Well, I get it. I mean, everybody knows those figures, so you can't keep them behind their shells because otherwise we'd know their shells a lot more than what we know. Their true figures inside of them.
I'll say this, Pat. I'll say that we're about to be introduced to a character that's going to be very, very important to the book. And he's a pretender.
Yeah, pretender combiner, isn't he?
Okay.
I don't think he's a combiner.
I haven't met him.
You have not met him yet, but you will remember him when you do. I'll say that much. As a matter of fact, you will see him on the cover of Transformers issue 60. Which comes up next month.
And if you like him, he features prominently throughout like all of the IDW stuff too. It's
interesting. Okay, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, of course. What else do we need to talk about? We talked about Megatron, we talked about Ratchet, we talked about Prime and Scorponok. Wasn't much to talk about on the Ark, but we mentioned the Ark.
They did their thing. I like how on the Ark they made it a point to go, you know what, we're not, even though the Decepticon was like, hey, I'm not going to tell you the codes to turn this off, but we can get a shuttle and we can get out of here. I'm down with that. But the guy's like, nope, no, I'm not doing that. You're on here. You're going to die just like the rest of us unless we shut these things off.
And the guy who said it was Cup. The reason why that made me smile is Cup has always been portrayed as that grizzled veteran. Mm-hmm. And as a veteran, like you're taught, like, man, you don't leave a man behind. No, that's what you don't do. Because he's like,
there was some Autobots that were down. And he's like, I don't want to see these,
Yeah. He's like, I won't do it. It's not an option for us to leave them to die, to get completely blown up. So I really appreciated that beat.
Yep. There's a lot said there in character moment, right? In that short page.
Got a lot of the movie characters got a lot more characterization than they have so far. But Cup, Blur, and Hot Rod. Hot Rod actually got something to do and did a cool thing. Way to go. Remember, did much better in interfering with a fight with Optimus Prime and another Decepticon.
Stop it. Still too soon.
Taking advantage of the design flaw in having you feel pain when your pretender shell gets shot. Although I am gonna no prize that into being that was something that Ratchet put into play.
Yep.
Either that or yes. Although they do feel pain, despite the fact that they can apparently turn their pain off. So I'm not exactly sure why they do what they do.
Well, my thought was like it's literally a shell. It's a remote control being, but like not actually alive itself. So so it can get hit and it can get damaged. And that's the disadvantage of having the pretender shell in the field, because if it gets hurt, then the robot gets hurt. So I could see if I were a pretender that, like, if I thought my pretender shell were useless, maybe I just, leave it somewhere in cold storage and just go out and be my own bot. At least I only had one person or one entity to worry about at that point. But I'm doing a lot of robot surmising that I couldn't possibly know about. Gentlemen, is there anything else to talk about in this issue?
I don't know. I think we kind of covered it. Like I said, this was a fast read, and he kept it to those 3 segments.
Yeah. He kept to those 3 segments, and he told some fantastic storytelling. So let's start bringing it home then. Let's talk about who had the touch. We talk about the person that was the best in the book, be it Autobot, Decepticon, or human. I did that without the script. Hopefully that was good enough. Pat, do you want to talk about who to you had the touch?
Well, I'm going to choose, and I'm thinking you guys would do the same, but I'll have to choose Ratchet on this one. He's the guy that had the touch, had the idea, thwarted Megatron's plans, not only, in Cybertron, on the Ark, and on the base with Prime, with Starscream. So he got he got the hat trick, so to say,
Yeah, that is, it's Ratchet. Like, he was one of besides Megatron, he was the only one who saw all facets of the plan. And as soon as he found out about him, he did the most heroic Autobot thing to do, and that was to thwart the biggest, baddest Decepticon that there is. So I'm more than happy to give Ratchet the touch. Do you have a different perspective, John?
Nope. I mean, honorable mention to my boy Hot Rod for being able to stop Starscream, be the shot that stopped Starscream. But it's hard to argue against Ratchet. This is his finest hour, and that they often get that in their send-off issues. At least they get to have a great last hurrah.
That's right. A last hurrah, because Ratchet, as the cover said, is dead. Absolutely gone. Deader than disco.
They're going to get
deader than a doornail, Pat. Not coming back. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Just hold on to this one. Look at it, because we're not seeing Ratchet again. You're not buying this for some reason, Pat.
No, I'm not. I can't be fooled on this one. I can't be duped.
Pat is unduped. Okay. All right. So if Ratchet isn't dead, when's he coming back? I mean, we don't have long to go, right? Like, this is issue 59 of 75.
This of 80. Didn't this go 80 issues?
Yes, it did. You would think that I would know that.
I gained a level. I gained a level in my novelty.
Not fair enough, Pat. Fair enough. Yeah, so 59 out of 80. So when do you think Ratchet is going to come back? If he comes back.
If he comes back, I guess I'm going to say maybe within 5 issues.
Okay.
Because I think wherever him and Megatron are going somewhere, right? I think they're going to be put to a portal somewhere, or they get blown somewhere else.
Okay.
And they're two buddies that got to find their way on home and get back to their place together.
It's like a buddy cop movie, except the buddies hate each other.
Yeah.
I guarantee if let's assume that they do come back, hypothetically, I hypothetically guarantee you have no idea how they're going to do it. If I had you guess 10, if I had you guess 100 times, I don't think you'd come up with the image that will be forever in your brain. If I remember it right.
Hypothetically. Anyways. If we talked about who was the best in the book, we have to talk about who was the worst in the book. We talk about the character that was worst in the book, and it's blown to bits just 4 issues into him coming back in the segment called Less Than Meets the Eye. John, who was less than meets the eye to you in this book?
Much as I hate to say, I got to give it to Grimlock. You're back. You got killed so unceremoniously, but now you, of all the Dinobots, I bet this is your chance. You can strike a blow. Nope. Trying again. Are you? Nope. Okay. Well, better luck next time, Grimlock. But today you are less than me.
He did a good job of hitting Megatron's fist with his face.
That is true, and he's got a lot of competition with that. So if he's best at that, maybe we'll give him the touch next time.
Absolutely, Pat. Who was less than me CI to you?
Well, I would give it to Grimlock as well too. But even Megatron has a kick of like a butt kick of doom. He's got his butt kick Grimlock right there. Boom, kicking it. Sometimes you just got to kick a Dinobot or whatever, just to show him who's boss.
Yeah. True.
I guess my second choice would be Zarak, or is it, Lord Zarak or whatever. He's just kind of I think he's just less than meets the eye to me. I mean, he is who he is, so he is always less than meets the eye because he's always worried about not getting hurt or making others do his bidding for him. So that makes sense.
If I'm going to ignore Grimlock, I guess I'll go with Starscream. In that, I understand that it is his personality that he's kind of craven, but boy, he gave up the ghost quickly, boy. It took one hit. He was like, okay, nope, I'm out. I'm not the super bad guy. I will do whatever you say, Scorpion. I mean, that absolutely is his personality, but it's like, oh man, you are a sniveling coward. And there's something about that. To use a Southernism that I just don't cotton to. So he is less than meets the eye to me. So let's rate the book, y'all. Transformers 59 on a scale of 1 to 10. What are we going to rate this book? I'll go first again. And I don't think this is going to surprise anybody. This book is a 10 to me. And it has been in the works for a while. I think I gave the last 2 issues a 9, and I said if the storyline delivers, then I'm going to give it the proper reward for delivering, and it did. For this to be Simon Furman's first foray into writing the Transformers US version, and this was his first 4-parter, I am chomping at the bit to read the rest of it because this was phenomenal. And for me to be this excited about it 35 years later and reading these books and was like, this was just a good story. Not a good story for kids. This was just a dang good story. It absolutely is a 10 for me. Pat, what do you think?
I agree with you, Delvin. I think from reading this from his start on this 4-part, right? Was it 4-part or 3-part? Yeah.
Yes, 4-part.
4-part. It's build up. It had its build up. And it finally got to this end, and it was well worth it. I think everything was kind of coming together, And then now you got some different parts where I'm interested to see where it goes. And you said it wasn't for kids, but I think it's a good one for kids as well, too, because it gives you a sense of, like I mentioned before, like if I was a kid, it helped me, give me those ideas to play with my toys and have and just, play these scenarios out and just open my mind to what can be done in this realm with the toys. I think it was done perfectly. And like a kid, I was enjoying it. I was really enjoying the storytelling, the way it unfolded here. It was, I always go back to, it was a quick read, but the help in making it a quick read was you had good storytelling, not only in the words, but also the drawing and the paneling and then the whole, art, and it told a story as well. So that helps you process what you're reading and seeing a lot quicker.
Thanks, Pat. Bring it home, John. What would you rate Transformers 59?
I hard agree to everything the two of you said. It's a 10 for me. This one is one of my favorite issues of the entire run. I remember it fondly back in the day. I felt just as excited reading it up to this time again. I think I probably liked it more this time because I actually wound up liking those little mini Decepticons a lot more than I thought I was going to or did before. But yeah, this is a 10. This is quite an auspicious start for Furman's first regular Marvel storyline, and cannot wait to see what he does next because I can't remember.
I only vaguely remember. Like, for instance, Transformers Chronicles 60, I can't tell you what happens in it. I think I kind of remember, but not really. So I'm looking.
Yeah, Matrix. I don't know. I mean, I remember when with the return or the debut / return of Spoiler. There's some weird shenanigans that happen. I remember that, but what was? Yeah,
don't ruin it for me.
I'm not gonna. But then Matrix Quest is basically where I remember is the next real storyline I can remember, and I know there's stuff between now and Matrix Quest.
Mm-hmm. I remember something about a primal scream.
That's it's a good art.
Yeah, I think that's coming up. And trust me, that meant nothing to you, Pat, but it will. just trust me on that. There's some good stuff coming. That's what me and
I have trust.
About
in reading this Furman stuff. I'm like, I do have trust and faith that there's going to be some good stuff going on. I can just tell it with this. This was a great start. A great kickoff. So if this is good, obviously there's got to be some better stuff along the coming up.
Yeah,
from him.
Well, let's buckle up and continue to enjoy this Simon Furman run. How about that? All right. Thank y'all for all of that. Now we will go to a promo break.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Beginning at the ripe old age of 4 years old, seeing Star Wars for the first time, I became obsessed with the movies. What they were, what they did, what they meant. I turned that obsession into a career, climbing the filmmaking and storytelling ranks as a screenwriter, author, and television maker. Now, I'm taking you on a journey through the cinema that defined my generation, Generation X, in the Celluloid Heroes podcast, examining the landmark films of the era from the well-known to the obscure to the unexpected, charting a history of cinema growth over the past 50 years, and looking forward to where it's going next. Celluloid Heroes is part memoir, part film analysis, and part exploration of the last 50 years of cinema through a Gen X lens. From the suburban adventures of Star Wars and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, to the Reagan-era cinema of The Right Stuff and Red Dawn, the sunny nostalgia that isn't of Back to the Future and Stand By Me, the year Generation X broke big with Reservoir Dogs and Dazed and Confused, the cautionary Los Angeles center tales of LA Confidential and The Limey, the last great golden age of blockbuster filmmaking with The Fellowship of the Ring and Pirates of the Caribbean, and concluding with the mournful ruminations of Inside Llewyn Davis and The Irishman. Celluloid Heroes will take a deep look at the themes, makers, and cultural context of this diverse array of films, and try to determine just what makes them so special to filmgoers, filmmakers, and to this fan in particular, as I chart a life through the movies that inspired me. It's also something of an autobiography of this young film fan who became a filmmaker himself, charting the good, the bad, and the ugly of a life in the creative arts with all of its triumphant moments and bitter defeats along the way. My name is Brad Abraham, and I welcome you to the Celluloid Heroes podcast, a proud member of the LONGBOX CRUSADE podcast network. Catch us monthly, and I'll see you there.
We now return to the Transformers.
Well, y'all, that is pretty much the show. We were a little light on transmissions, just, a few behind the scenes stuff that we will get back to next episode. Same thing with Transformers Spotlight. How about this? How about we are doing, in honor of Simon Furman's short runs, we are doing a short run of Transformers Chronicles. I like the sound of that, but
indeed.
But please, if you have any, you know what? If you have any ideas for Transformers Spotlight, because I think that is absolutely cool to just cover the tech specs of any of the toys, which we could always continue to do. Sometimes we've spotlighted just a certain thing, our tribute to Bob Budiansky for a couple of them. For instance, I talked about Simon Furman and Andrew Wildman's podcast on last issue. But if there's anything that you want us to talk about in the spotlight, let us know. We are up for ideas and not too proud to take them. So please let us know. What's up, Pat?
You know what's even a good idea, Delvin? Send in your spotlight to us. We would love to get a voicemail from you, and you can be part of the show by sending us, tell us something we need to know and educate us in a spotlight. That would be kind of cool to listen to.
Hey, yeah. Anything that's less work for us, we'll
either or. I am not too proud to solicit crowd response, especially since we have a good audience and we have some really cool fans. We've gotten to know quite a few of you, and we really appreciate that. So, yeah, just ping us. You have a voicemail. I'm going to get to that in a second, actually. But yeah, feel free to, or any other places. I know Pat puts this podcast in a lot of different places. Feel free to give us suggestions there. But we love for you to just either call or email us or anything. Leave a comment on YouTube. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. Please come back and join us for next episode, where we discuss Transformers issue 60, where we are introduced to the Decepticon pretender Bludgeon. Yeah. And business continues to pick up. If you'd like to hear more from us, LONGBOX CRUSADE, Transformers Chronicles, we're in a lot of places, y'all. Check out Apple Podcasts, Google Play, most podcatchers to include Spotify at www.longboxcrusade.com. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. If you look for LONGBOX CRUSADE, you will find us. We have a Crusaders Club that you could join us for only $1 a month. If you happen to be a Crusaders Club member, and you can comment on a Crusaders Club and let us know there. I guarantee you we are more likely to pay attention to those who are paying us money than those who aren't. But that said, we, of course, appreciate all likes, shares, retweets, and all of that. They all have an importance. YouTube, please subscribe. We have a do a live stream once a month, every second Sunday. Come out to play a New Warriors podcast. Jared does a few podcasts as well that are worth your time. We got a lot of content on YouTube, and we'd love for you to check any and all of it out. There's a voicemail as well. You can leave us voicemail comments, 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone. Oh, well. They can't all be winners. Pick up the phone.
They are winners because you tried. That's the important thing.
Oh,
yes. You can email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com. And John, would you like to tell the listeners where you can be found?
Maggie's and my podcast is best located at mwcpodcast.libsyn.com. Or just point your podcatcher to MWC Podcast or Married with Content. Usually we'll get it there as well. Otherwise, I'm on Blue Sky at MWC Podcast, and Maggie is on Blue Sky at Maggie in the Rain.
Maggie in the rain. Pat.
Never been saved.
I wanted you to get that done. Pat. Where can you be found?
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the X at Christatos01. Delvin, where can you be found?
I can be found on Threads at Delvin Ray. I can be found on Blue Sky, DEERAY 1977. See y'all next time. And remember, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Till all are one.
To all are one.
Till all are one.
Till all are one. I never usually say it. You
got the touch. You got the power. Yeah.
All songs, sound clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended, and it is for entertainment purposes only. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.